Good morning, YouTubers. How are you? Good. Welcome into Friday. Finally, it's Friday. The TGIF, is it? Is that what it is today? TGIF? Thank goodness it's Friday. So,
8,893.
Yes.
special guest in the studio this morning, right off the bat, right after Fox News at 7 o'clock. We got Tim Foster in here, County Commissioner, retired educator, but he's still educating people. So it'd be a good time in here. If you want to chat with us this morning or with him, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. Give us a call right after we get on the air, okay? See you shortly.
and local. Real Talk starts now.
And TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday. I'm Rayford Brown. Good morning.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And a special guest in the studio this morning, as promised, and delivering on time. We have Tim Foster. Morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
Our
morning.
commissioner, one of our
We can call
commissioners.
him Onslow County Commissioner Tim Foster. We can
That's
call
right.
him retired educator Tim Foster, retired school principals Tim Foster, a Southwest advocate.
All the above.
All of the above. Guilty as charged, right? So, Tim, is the election still going on? I mean, I heard some rumors. I read something
Don't
on
start rumors. Don't start them.
that all elections were off.
You tried that
Oh.
yesterday. See how fast it was before Jason called in? You're giving him a stroke again. Bless his heart.
Yep. Anyway, elections coming up. Let's see. You've served one term, and you're wanting to serve a second term.
Served one term and looking forward to the opportunity. Things go the way I'd like for it to go to serve a second term for Onslow County.
Yeah, we had Joan here a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about everything except the election.
Right.
I mean, there's so much going on that you just are the perfect opportunity for us as a newsmaker.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the last 4 years first. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel good because when I come on board, there was a lot going on coming out of Hurricane Florence.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work and conversations going on between the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners with the damage and from the hurricane and how they're going to pay for it.
And you had interest in both areas.
I sure did as a citizen, then as an educator of the facilities, and then the money that was having to be spent. And one of the things that I wanted to be a part of or work on, because the funding formula come to an end at that time.
Right.
And then if you don't have a funding formula in place, then you get into negotiations and discussions with the Board of Education. So I've been around the state and asked superintendents and other board members, what do you do in your county? How do you? And one of the ideas was we get a certain percentage of the revenue every year. So the Board of Education knows what they're going to get when they go into their budget process. It takes out all the haggling and work. So we come up with 36.1% of our total revenue would go towards the school system. And here we are years later, and everybody is still happy with that formula. And we've been successful with that. And then we make it through the end of Hurricane Florence, face what we faced with that, and learn what we learned from that. And then
something called a pandemic.
Something called a pandemic comes in. So those two things have really ruled the first term I've had on there. And I like to share with people is that we're coming out of the back end of that stronger financially than we've ever been historically. So
Scary.
Which is kind of something I think we should hang our hats on with the amount of funds that we were faced with having to spend to take care of issues from Florence right into shutdowns with COVID. But at the same time, we come out on the other end with more knowledge of what to do from a hurricane. For instance, we opened the fuel farms a week ago, which, that would allow our public safety folks to pull up to the pump the gas and go. And then we're buying it in bulk rates. So spending 1,000 or using 1,000 gallons worth of fuel a day, saving 15 to 18 cents per gallon. When you do that for a year, you make a lot of savings. And the school system did some of the same stuff, as they've got people on contract whenever a hurricane or natural disaster comes through, that we don't have to wait to bid. We don't have to wait to go and get somebody on the work. And the county's done some of that as well. And Onwassa as well, is that if it happens, they're on standby. And when it's over, they come to work for us and get us back up and running again. So I thought that was huge. Things that you learn that you didn't think about until you're in the middle of a disaster.
Well, sometimes a disaster an emergency can bring out the best in people.
Yes.
And, I've seen that in the past, and it happened this time after the hurricane and after the pandemic, and we're still recovering. Now, as an educator, got to ask you about the pandemic. What did that do to our kids? Are we ever going to be able to recover? Are they going to be able to recover?
Kids are resilient, and I believe they'll recover, but it's going to take years for them to recover.
I agree.
You look at the results of testing across the U.S. over the last year, you see the results of staying home and closing the doors, not only in test scores, but look at what's going on with our kids mentally and socially.
Absolutely.
I always like to talk about when we grew up and went through school, we had recess.
We
Right, we
did.
did.
And we went out for
did.
recess,
Fresh air.
and we did not have someone directing us, establishing the rules out on the playground.
Nope.
We had to come together as students, have our game, set up our own rules, enforce our own rules, and mediate when someone or there was a discussion, which sometimes in elementary school, the
They were
discussions
heated.
can get heated, but they were always resolved. And we've lost that.
Yeah, I remember kickball and dodgeball.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And the monkey bars.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
All that
yes.
stuff, and we all survived.
Yes,
That's
we
right.
did.
That's right. That's
And-
all part of the socialization, learning to work within your social norms and rules. And,
Mhm.
and I think that bleeds right into some of the issues we're facing today is people don't think they have to follow laws and rules.
Mhm.
And they're there for their safety, our safety, and the public safety in general.
So what's the next 4 years looking like for Onslow County?
I'll tell you, if we can stay away from hurricanes and pandemics, I look forward to what Onslow County may be able to bring to the table. There has been lots of discussion. I have had lots of calls about a multi-sports complex coming to
I'm sure you
Onslow
did.
County, and we need it because it will serve more than a sports purpose. If we do it right, we can host tournaments here, balls here,
Mhm.
conventions here, and if we do the indoor facility right, we can bring some concerts and folks to Onslow County.
Absolutely.
I mean, I look and I see who I think there's a church down in Newbern that is continually bringing in entertainment. I mean, Danny Goki is going to be
Oh,
down
yeah.
there,
Really?
and
American Idol.
the seating in that facility would not be anything extraordinary for us to reach or exceed in a building to start hosting things like that.
Would it pay for itself?
I think that's something that the venue itself may not make the money that we would like for it to make,
Mhm.
but it's going to bring people to the county to where the county and the city is going to be able to make money in the restaurants, the stores, the hotels, and then that money itself is going to be reinvested right back into the community.
Well, there's sales tax.
Right.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
First
Absolutely.
of all, that the county does get a portion of.
Yes.
Occupancy tax too, if people
Uh-huh.
staying overnight.
Absolutely.
So it may not pay for itself, but it might be a great investment for the county.
Right. Absolutely. I believe that.
I would hope that would be the case. We've seen some areas, including Myrtle Beach, where
Oh,
everybody
yes.
looks at they don't pay for themselves. They
Right.
still have to get other funds because they're a year-round event. I
Right.
mean, somebody's got to be paid year-round to sit there while nothing's happening.
That's right. That's right. And that's the part where you've got to have good folks in charge of it
Mhm.
to really look after that tax dollar and what they're doing in those off seasons.
Well, with the Onslow Tourism Board here, the commission,
Yes.
I would hope that they would take advantage of that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Other than just depend upon our natural environment, bring people to the beach, yada, yada, yada. During the off season, do some special stuff.
Absolutely. I mentioned during the forum, and I used the term Patriot Games, and I don't know if that's something that we would use or not, but I think Onslow County could really. When people say, well, you can't compete with Myrtle Beach or you can't compete with this one. Well, Onslow County has something to offer that no one else has. And that is this Marine Corps Installations East right here in
Yep.
the heart of Onslow County. And if we could work with a partnership with Camp Lejeune, we could really start bringing in under the umbrella the Patriot Games and have volleyball tournament, wrestling tournament, baseball, softball,
That'd be
soccer.
awesome.
And each
Boxing.
one of them, boxing, each one of them would have a different name, and it would all be related to Onslow County and the
Mhm.
red, white, and blue, and our wonderful coast, our wonderful relationship with the military. And then we develop a relationship there to where the kids can have lectures from quality leadership aboard Camp Lejeune,
Mhm.
and then go do a tour of the flight line, a tour of the firing range, a tour of MARSOC. And what a great opportunity for youth to come in and see stuff that a lot would never see if they didn't grow up in Onslow County.
And if the Marine Corps took advantage of it, what a great recruiting tool there would be.
Absolutely.
Because right
so
now we
many
know
things.
the Marine Corps is about the only thing that they're not losing people.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
the only group.
Yes.
The Army's losing more people than it's gaining every year.
And the Marine Corps staying steady, but
Very stagnant. I don't call it steady. It's stagnant.
Right,
It's not
right.
growing. Yeah, so if you ain't growing, you're stagnant.
You're stagnant. That's exactly right. And that would be a great opportunity for
I
them
hadn't
to
thought
bring them
about
in.
that. That'd be a great tool.
So
for
many
us.
opportunities all
Yeah.
the way around.
Oh, I like
It's
that.
just like a domino effect.
Now let's go ahead and count on us having a hurricane between now and 4
Would you
years from
stop?
now.
Let's not talk about it.
Look at the worst case scenario, and then anything else is better.
Right.
So,
Right.
are we prepared for a worst case scenario?
We are much better prepared than what we were previously.
Mhm.
I'm sure when we get
Mhm.
into it,
Mhm.
there's something's going to happen that you're
Sure.
like, oh my gosh, we didn't
Mhm.
see that coming.
Right.
But we are in better shape with the fuel. And then with the
That's
fact that
a big deal.
that
right
is
there.
huge. The radio systems that are installed with our public safety folks, that you don't have to worry about them going out. They're still going to be able to communicate effectively. You've got the buildings that are being improved on with the taking care of the
Including
infrastructure,
schools.
and the schools, and working
New
on
ones.
the shelters that we're looking at. The schools now, we're making sure that they're better prepared for hurricanes and take care of our folks
All
when
new
they're coming off of
schools
it.
are Cat 4 capability, right?
Yes,
That's good.
Which makes a huge difference,
Uh-huh.
especially
Yes.
down Coastal Elementary down in the Sneeds Ferry area,
Mhm.
Holly Ridge area. That's going to be important if we ever have to bring people off the island and bring them into the schools.
Mhm.
So that makes a world of difference. So you learned a lot of infrastructure work that still has to be taken care of.
Mhm.
And then the fact that you have teams ready to go when it happens, instead of having to wait days to get somebody on in here to take care of it.
Yeah. So, I like that. How about normal everyday life between now and whenever the next pandemic or the next hurricane happens? Are we good?
I think Onslow County has been fortunate. We are fairly insulated from a lot of stuff that takes place in the nation. Unfortunately, we're not as insulated with inflation right now. We can't control the price of milk, but we have our working force in Onslow County is very steady. It's doing well with the Marine Corps, with our education, our school system,
Mhm.
and the different entities that are here that will continue to employ and continue to work, and people still be spending money here in Onslow County. But we still got to work to make sure that we're providing the services to the folks here as we continue to grow. Public safety is going to have to continue to grow
Of
in order
course.
Yes.
to continue to take care of folks. And when you call 911, you want to make sure that phone is answered and help is dispatched as fast as it can.
One of the issues that 60% of Onslow County residents deal with is something called property tax. It's
Yes.
a dirty word. I got my bill
Mhm.
is in the mail. I got until January something to pay for it.
Right.
It's gone up.
Yes, it has.
Regardless of what, we reduced the tax rate. Well, you did not. You reduced the tax rate, but you increased the amount of money that you're going to collect from many
Right.
of us. Right.
That is a true statement with the reevaluation coming
Mhm.
in. Something that we're not in control of, but we have to react to what those reevaluations are.
Mhm.
And this time around, the housing market has, obviously, we all know the housing market has exploded in Onslow County.
Yes.
Mhm.
And with that being said, you'd love to tout, we didn't raise your taxes. We actually lowered your tax rate. But at the end of the day, people are seeing that they're spending more money on their property taxes. And something that I learned, and I didn't realize this, was when you lower your tax rate, if you lower it too far, then it impacts the sales tax formula that you have. And if we had gone much lower, it would have impacted us to where we would have lost anywhere from $1.5 to $2 million in sales tax revenue.
Mhm.
So then we bring ourselves down to, let's say, revenue neutral, but we then lose almost $2 million in sales tax. The question then comes, where are you going to cut?
Somebody needs to refigure that formula.
Isn't that the truth? Because
That's a scam.
it does not help. It does not help us at all. And with that being said, when we did low, I think we dropped it a nickel. People are still paying more. But what I really liked of what we were doing with it, we were able to look at every citizen if they asked where that extra money was going. And 3 cents of it is going to the volunteer fire departments.
Mhm.
That money is going to go support the volunteer fire departments around Onslow County. More importantly is you have citizens in your municipalities that'll say, wait a minute, I'm paying that additional 3 cents as well. I'm already paying my municipality's sales tax.
Yes.
Property tax. I already have these fire departments. So in that, we also are going to take that 3 cents and give back to the municipalities for their population, so they can put it to where they need to put that towards. And then the other 3% is actually going into school construction and taking care of the schools, because if we went lower within less than 2 years, we've got school construction cost and payments that are coming in that we would have to raise the taxes 2 years later in order to meet those obligations.
Mhm.
So we've got that in there to taken care of. And then you got to spend that money to pay your employees so you can continue to meet the expectations of the citizens for their services.
Absolutely.
In particular, EMS. When we were losing lots of EMS folks to other counties, at one time we were doing very well in paying our EMS and EMTs, and then all of a sudden we started dropping, and we were able to make some dent in that to keep our people, because it's important. We don't have enough buses on the road, not school buses, we know that, but we don't have enough of them out there to meet our needs. But we want to make sure we continue to move in that direction to get what we need on the roads to take care of the folks when they need us.
If you got a question for Commissioner Tim Foster, he's running for re-election, his first re-election bid.
Yes.
So he's been on duty for the last 4 years, almost. If you got a question, call us during the break. We're going to take a quick break, do some weather, and we'll be back on the other side. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME, and our number, 910-333-0139. We'll be right back. If you're looking for a good deal on a used boat, you might want to check with George at Tideline Marine. A couple of nice boats under consignment now. Haven't seen a whole lot of those used boats recently because people have been holding on to them because they couldn't get new ones. It's been quite a while since Tideline has been able to offer quality used boats. Of course, the Tideline team is still selling new Lund boats. Beautiful boats, by the way, perfect for the waters around these parts. With good catches of speckled trout happening right now, I can attest to it. I was out there this week and there were some nice trout that were caught. Nice fish out there. A boat that can perform in shallow waters is exactly what you need to maneuver the shallow creeks around the White Oak and New Rivers. Tideline Marine and Family, your Lund and Mercury outboard dealer, 159 Old Bridge Street, along the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. We still got that pesky little small craft advisory. It's in effect until Sunday afternoon. Today, northeasterly winds 20 to 25 knots. You don't want to go out there. It's going to be rocking and rolling today. You know what?
Most definitely.
Yeah, not a doubt in my
Little
mind.
bumpy.
Seas 5 to 7 feet.
Oh, yeah. No, time stay.
That's
Oh,
8
nope.
feet right up there. And these are going to be almost that tall.
Surf.
Not pretty. 2 to 4 near shore, but your problem will be getting out through the inlets because they're shallow draft inlets because our government won't allow us to do anything to fix the inlet problems. We'll talk to Tim about that in a minute. Sounds and rivers are going to be rough. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds pretty much the same, 20 to 25 knots, gusts to 30, seas 5 to 7. Sounds and rivers still rough. Sunday, northeasterly winds 15 to 20, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon, seas 4 to 6, a little less worse. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon. The first of next week is looking a lot better.
Well, that's wonderful. And today is going to be mostly cloudy with a high near 67, northeast wind 8 to 13 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Chance of rain is at 20%. Tonight, football night, patchy drizzle after 2 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low of 55. Saturday, patchy drizzle before 8 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 69, north wind 8 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 16. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a low of 53. And Sunday's going to be partly sunny with a high near 74. Now, you explain to me what the difference is between partly sunny and partly cloudy.
I don't know, glasses half full or half empty, whichever.
I've always wondered
whatever you
about
want to
that.
do.
Sounds the same.
Oh, and,
The result is the same, right? Whatever.
and just for all those people that watch a certain channel on TV, today is the 8th year anniversary of the passing of Skip Waters.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
We all miss him.
WCTI, yeah. Skip
Yes.
was a really nice guy
Yeah.
and a very capable
And you
meteorologist,
always,
too.
and if you wanted to know whether if we had a storm coming, you always tuned in to Skip.
Yeah, and he did this thing called Pinpoint.
Yes, he did. He
And
could tell you.
And he knew every intersection in
He did.
eastern North Carolina.
Oh,
he knew what store was
He'd
on
tell
every
you
intersection.
your street, what kind of weather you were getting.
Pretty
He'd
much.
get excited when snow was coming.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
He did.
Oh, my goodness.
I got excited too because I don't like snow. It means it's cold and it's hard to drive in. And
I have
other
4-wheel
people-
drive.
I got it.
You've
I
got
can
it too.
get it, but the problem is there are other idiots out
Oh,
there
yeah.
on the road.
I learned that lesson
sliding
well
away.
back in the snow of 89, 90. I
Oh,
learned that
my
lesson
God,
well.
yeah, I
People
know.
are crazy.
Famous
good-
last words, I can drive in the snow.
Right.
I pulled a lot of those guys out.
Yes.
Because I had a Jeep at that time as
Yeah,
well.
I-
And,
Pulled a deputy out. Oops. Yeah,
uh-oh.
that was way back. Yeah.
Anyway, Tim Foster's, I guess, in the studio for the next few minutes. He's got other engagements here this morning, so
He's a busy
in
man.
early. Biggest issue facing Onslow County today that we need to resolve right away.
I go with, and I've mentioned this several times, is our growth is our
Whoa.
issue. And it's a double-edged sword. Growth is good, but growth also brings lots of other issues.
Yes.
And that issue comes into the public safety side. So something that we have to make sure we try and address and do it adequately is the public safety community, from EMS, fire safety, to our sheriff's office, because unfortunately, the larger the population, more issues show up, whether it's fire, heart attack, or whatever you face in that 911 emergency situation. Even the criminal activity increases when population increases.
That's right.
And that's something that comes with numbers. So I think one of the things that we have really got to focus on will be making sure that the public safety side of the house is taken care of in order to meet the needs of our citizens. And the other part is the schools. That's the second
It's a
thing
big
that's
thing.
up there. We're building schools, and I'd love to find a way to keep us from having to continue to build schools. And at some point, some of that's going to be redistricting that the school board is probably going to take a look at. And I think there's some discussion of that now. I don't want to speak for them because
Oh.
that's what they do, but redistricting is always a tough thing when it
Yeah.
comes to moving people out of one district, especially if a family's been there for their entire lives and their
Mhm.
kids and their grandkids. And now all of a sudden some changes come about. So if that's something that they do, I think they'll do it in a manner that is very conducive to the feelings of the people that is impacting.
Um, I had a train of thought there with law enforcement. We've got a lot of officers out there. We got a lot of sheriff's deputies. We got people working the streets, which is
Mhm.
good. But we have an issue. We have it's called a court.
Yes. Yes.
It's not growing.
It is.
It's not able to handle the caseload that it's got.
It is
The
not.
district attorney's office is overwhelmed. I hate to speak for Ernie Lee, but I'll tell you what, I've been personally up close and personal to that for 2 years now in one particular case, mine.
Right.
And it took over 2 years to get a guy in front of a judge, and then it was, let's make a deal.
That's right. I had a friend of mine that was involved with some issues,
Mhm.
and it took 4 years
Yeah.
before it was finally resolved.
Yeah.
And we don't have the personnel.
We do not.
And we with the space. I mean, we just opened a new courthouse, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, but
And we're still not to what we need with what we're facing.
Mhm.
And we even have I can't even think of it, the pretrial services that we are trying to do to limit that, but we're still facing that. So that's something, again, that you make note of is we've got to sit down with Ernie Lee in the district attorney's office and the courts of where are we at? What can we do? And the state has to come in
It's
and support
primarily a
us
state
with
deal
that.
because
They've got to
this-
come in, and so we can get the bailiffs there.
Yeah.
But we need the judges, and the DA's office needs who they need, and we've got to get people into the courtroom to get these things satisfied.
when you got an ADA, assistant district attorney, somebody who's handling trial cases, and they have got, like, I don't know, a stack of cases like this high
Oh my gosh,
at
yes.
at any given time. You got a defense attorney. How many defense lawyers are there in the county? They outnumber the district attorney staff by many times over.
We don't want to get across the line and say we're going to fight each other because the DA's office is going to lose.
Yes.
Because there's probably 2 or 3 or 4 defense attorneys
Probably
for
5 or
every
6 or
person.
8 or 10.
And when they have just a couple of cases that they're dealing with at a time, and your prosecuting attorney is, like you said, dealing with 34.
Yeah.
And they are doing the work. It's just the work that's placed upon them for
Mhm.
them to do it at the level of their expertise. Because we've got some really good people in that DA's office that are working their butts
They
off.
got
Yes.
screwed over too because the courts were shut down for a year.
Yes,
Now
absolutely.
we still got caseload from before the pandemic.
We shut that down, and like you said, now we've got somebody that's sitting there waiting. They're on they're already a year out, and then pandemic, and now they're 2 years out, 3 years out.
Yep.
And when is it going to resolve itself? And that's something that hopefully we can sit down with our state leaders and get some work done to take care of. And that's something that I think we need to
Speaking
do.
of which, our state leaders
Uh-oh.
on the local delegation.
Right.
When was the last time all of y'all had a meeting with all of them?
I cannot remember that.
Because it didn't happen.
And
Not
I-
during your time.
No, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's one thing that I would like to see us do moving forward in this. Once this election is over with and we've got that set, is we need to really start scheduled meetings with our
Every
local
quarter at
Dem-
least.
Absolutely, not just do work with them, also with the municipalities with each
Of
other,
course,
and bring in the Marine Corps as well.
please.
And meet and discuss and talk, because there's a lot more that can take place over dinner when everybody is just working and talking and
Mhm.
speaking
Right.
with each other, and you learn what issues they're facing instead of learning about their issues after it's become a problem. Issue can start off as an issue or a concern,
Mhm.
and if it's not addressed, then it becomes a problem. And we need to be more proactive and less reactive of what we're doing.
Thank you. That would be the ideal way to handle it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's an excellent idea.
So, not,
Very much so.
coming from another county, they had, I think it was every quarter,
Right.
the entire delegation, the state delegation came to the county commission meeting. They had a special time set aside for them.
Yes, I think that would be outstanding. And it's not to say that because I talk to Mike Lazar regularly. I talk to Phil. I talk to George. But there's a lot more that can be accomplished when we're all together
Absolutely.
having these conversations. There's things that I'd love for us to be able to address. We have communities in Onslow County right now that they were built in the 80s, and their roads have deteriorated into nothing. And I've been trying to help out a community that we have here in Onslow County, but there's 16 or 17 of them just like it.
Mhm.
And I would love to see maybe our state could, they like to create pots of money for issues across the state and help these communities out, because Onslow County is not the only one that has these
Correct.
developments that are in these situations, but we've got to find something to help them.
The other thing that this other county did, they met every quarter with the DOT.
Oh my gosh, would that be a great idea?
Oh, it was
Whoa.
certainly would be.
I mean, you're not reinventing the wheel
That's
here.
the
All you
truth.
got to do is pick up on what other people are doing.
That's exactly right.
So, little things like that.
I
would be
like to
great.
do that too.
It's
I
one of
like
my
to pull
huge
up
rants.
other counties or other
Uh-huh.
cities in the state and in the nation and
See
just
what
see what
works.
they're doing and how are
Right.
they successful at that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes communication such a
Oh, that
effective
word.
tool. and that's what really helped with the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners was the communication between the two boards. And look what we were able to do. And the same thing goes to North Topsail Beach, is
Of
that we
course.
had issues going on and we pushed, and I won't say me because we do it as a board, but we were able to get a joint meeting with North Topsail Beach, and we were able to figure some things out with the occupancy tax to reimburse them on some expenses that they hadn't thought about. And now the relationship there,
Lifeguards.
I knew that was going to
Oh,
come in
we
there.
knew that was going to come.
You
didn't we?
opened it up. You opened it up, Tim. Sorry.
I put it right out there on a silver
You did.
tray for you. And that's something that has become a very effective. That one day, hour and a half long meeting has resulted in a very strong, positive relationship
it.
with North Topsail Beach. And that's something I want us to see with all of our municipalities,
That'd be good.
including our local delegation and the Marine Corps.
Well, Onslow County benefits greatly.
Yes.
$3.8 million, was it million dollars raised in occupancy taxes in
Yes.
2021.
Yes.
I think it was.
Yes.
Whatever it was.
Yes.
Salem was in here this week. Salem Clark.
Oh, Salem's got it going on.
She does have
She
it
knows a
going
lot.
on.
And the thing I like to say this, and people go, I'm tired of hearing you say that. If Onslow County is successful, all of our municipalities are successful.
Absolutely. Yes.
If our municipalities are successful, Onslow County is successful.
Sure.
And you know what? I don't care who gets credit for an idea that is successful, as long as the results are positive for the citizens of this county. And it's kind of like the old sports analogy. The name on the front is a lot more important than the name on the back.
Absolutely.
Well, I have one question because I know you've got to go, but what is it that you love most about Onslow County?
I love the small town atmosphere.
Mhm.
I love the resources that we have here. My roots are here. I've been here all my life. And I love the fact that we are growing, but we haven't forgotten who we are. And I love the fact that I can take my boat, put it in the water, and enjoy a day on the water about 365 days
Pretty
a year.
close.
Not many days are too cold. And then if I want to, and I can, a few hours up the road, I'm in another climate I don't want to move because this coast is what I love. But I love the roots of this county and where we were and where we're going. And we haven't forgotten those.
We can finally get there from here.
Yes. Yes. Well
Because
said.
way
I
back
think so.
when, we couldn't get anywhere from here.
That's right. And we want to encourage industry to realize you can
Please.
get from here to there now.
We
Yes.
have ports to the northeast. We have ports to the southwest of us. We have a port in each direction that big industry can take advantage of. Easy access.
And look at the employable people in Onslow County. The
Look at the
military
people
retiring, the
Look at the
community
people we
college.
could keep here when they get out
Yes.
of college,
Yes.
get out of the Marine Corps, and either further their education or go to work in an industry that they were familiar with. Colt Arms.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If you could get Colt
He
here,
wants
if
Colt
there's
here so
not a
bad.
Marine in the world
Right.
now or in the past that doesn't understand what Colt means.
They will be able to put them to work with a knowledge that is
Experience.
you cannot get the knowledge and the experience of what you have in Onslow County anywhere else
Nope.
for Colt.
So we need to get them here. Okay, Tip, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank
you.
y'all very much.
Appreciate you coming in.
Get out and vote. And at 9
Yes.
o'clock, tune in to Sports Talk with Chris
I
and
was going to
I.
tell
That's
you,
right.
it's Sports
Oh,
Talk
yes.
this morning at 9 o'clock. And you guys have got, let's see, Corey Fahman, class of 2010, played soccer at Jacksonville High School,
Oh,
Hey,
yes.
Go
go
Cards.
Cards.
Yes.
Catawba
Yes.
College, and some professionally. So Jacksonville's assistant soccer coach.
Yes.
Very
It'll,
good.
it'll,
Nine o'clock.
it'll be good.
9 o'clock.
Thank y'all very
after
much.
the
Thank
show.
you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
See you at the polls.
I'll see you there.
No doubt about it. He's got a campaigning suit on, right?
Yes.
Actually, that's not the campaigning suit that most politicians will wear.
No,
they had
he
that
goes
little
out there pretty
had that
casual. I
little
mean, he looks nice.
pinstripe.
Yeah.
Remember those pinstripe
Oh,
suits
yes.
that everybody
Well,
used to
yes,
wear?
by
A
Tim.
little slightly. Anyway, all politicians did way back.
He's fun
when.
to work with at the polls.
I
though.
bet he is.
Oh, he is a
He's fun to
blast.
work with in here.
Yes,
he's
he is.
just a good guy all around. Let's take a break.
Absolutely.
You're live and local, Real Talk. Got a question? Got a comment? We're going to talk a little bit about football tonight too. So it's it's on.
Hmm?
It's on, but it's discouraging. Not the ball game, the people. You're live and local, Real Talk. Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Great to have Tim in here. Tim Foster. He was a great interview.
Yeah, a
Lots
lot of information.
we-
Learned some things I didn't know.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to get educated.
Yes.
And we got educated this morning.
That's right.
I did not
Yeah,
know a lot of
that
stuff.
going revenue neutral and what it causes when you do that.
Yeah, a loss of sales tax.
That's right.
Wow, loss of sales tax revenue, whatever. Okay, 8 people dead in a house fire yesterday in Oklahoma. Happened outside Tulsa in a little community called Broken Arrow. No real details, but the police and federal authorities are looking at it as a possible homicide.
Oh gosh.
So there were 6 kids and 2 adults living in the home. That's what neighbors said. Don't know who the victims are. No real details who was killed or how the fire actually started. But the police apparently say we don't think there's a threat to the public. So they've either got somebody or they feel that that whoever it was is no longer a threat. Don't
Well,
know
usually
how.
when they say there's not a threat to the public, it means it's pretty much an isolated
Yeah.
incident. It's probably someone connected to the family. So
And police do say that it's complex. They describe the whole situation as complex. Well, yeah, I'm sure. God golly. One witness said she saw a column of smoke near the house while she was driving with her children. Got closer, she said, smoke pouring out from the very top of the house. In other words, it was fully engulfed at that point in time. Well, that's a shame. This is disgusting here in North Carolina, Davidson County. 3 adults arrested. A child was found locked inside a dog kennel outside a home in below freezing temperatures last week and told detectives he had lived outside for several months.
they wouldn't even have to go to trial.
Oh, no.
Be calling
No.
out Kelly's mom vigilante group.
Evidence disposal team, the evidence disposal
I
boat.
like that.
Deputies responded 7 a.m. 7 a.m.
My gosh.
in Lexington after an anonymous citizen reported her child. I would not be anonymous. I would be breaking down that door. I would have taken matters into my own hands if I found the kid locked outside and below freezing temperatures, locked in a dog kennel. No, sir.
I mean,
I'd be cutting that lock and that kid's going with me.
these people are evil. Certainly. I'd be like Rambo, just like slithering through the woods.
9-year-old kid, 9 years old,
Bless
in a
his
dog
heart.
kennel.
Oh my gosh.
Inside a dog kennel, secured with a padlock.
Well, that's what they need to do with the parents. Put them inside of a dog kennel with a bowl of water out in the woods.
Temperatures were 28 degrees overnight.
Oh
The
my
clothes found inside the
goodness.
kennel were not enough to provide warmth to the child.
I want to go get that child.
They removed the kid from the kennel. Forced entry into the house. Yeah, they kicked the door in, okay? That's
Well,
what that means.
yes.
Adult there and 2 other children, an infant and a 4-year-old. The children were unharmed. She was arrested. The child's stepmother, the child's biological father, and the aunt
My
arrested
gosh.
and detained. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. It's Jason Dedman.
Hello,
Well, good
Jason.
morning,
How
Jason.
are you? From the Onslow County Board of Elections. We're going to have a race
Yes,
this
sir.
year. I understand that the election's been called off.
Stop. I told you you're going to
No,
cause him anxiety.
I was calling in to say we've had over 8,000
Wow.
early one-stop voting so far, and 3,000 of those voted at the Commons, and
Yes.
then about 1,400 at my office, and the rest are kind of tied between the other 3 sites.
Yes, I
Wow.
have it right here,
Cool.
ready to rock in case we got onto that subject.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
good, because when I'm on the phone, I can't look at that cool little
Right.
statistic thing I sent you.
Yes. Yeah, Commons 3,147, and the closest to that was the Board of Elections at 1,423.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're looking at a really big turnout, do you think, this year with, by the end of the day on November 8th?
Well, I think if you compare it to 2018, we're ahead of where we were.
Yes,
but
we are.
I'm not thrilled with the turnout, because we have more registered voters than we did in
Yeah,
2018.
that's a big point.
But maybe some people are waiting for election day, which is fine. I want people to vote whenever they deem comfortable. But today is Friday. We're going to be open 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. at all 5 locations, no matter where you're at in the county.
Mm-hmm.
This will be our second Saturday tomorrow, open at 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then that takes us into the last week. And then one final Saturday on the 5th of November from 8 to 3. And then the important thing to note is if you don't come to early voting, then you can't vote at the Board of Elections on Election Day. A lot of people come to the Board of
Sure.
Elections on
It's
Election
moved.
Day.
Right.
Yeah, then you go to your precinct, and then some people will assume they go to the Commons because they're so used to voting early that they just go there on Election
And
Day.
it happens.
Well, the only
every
people
time.
that vote on the Commons on Election Day is East Northwoods. So just trying to keep confusion out about where they should go when. And if anybody doesn't know, the best thing you can do is just Google NCSBE, or if you don't want to remember an acronym, North Carolina State Board of Elections,
Right.
voter lookup. And you can look up anybody you want, and that'll show you their polling place and their sample ballot.
Sure. Now, for folks who live in the Bryn Mawr area, who have voted traditionally at one location for many years, that's
Pine
changed.
Valley. Now it's the fire department.
Right. So we did all the legal notifications that we had to do last time. I even went above and beyond and put a sign at the 2 old sites. So the 2 that changed, not since the primary, but before the primary, the 2 that changed were the Bryn Mawr precinct, used to be the church, and Pine Valley Church. It's not that anymore. It's fire station number 3, I think is the number. It's behind Chick-fil-A.
Right.
On Western Boulevard. Everybody knows where Chick-fil-A is. And right behind there is the fire station, and a lot of people park in that executive suite parking lot. Shout out to them for letting us, invade their space for a day. And then Gum Branch had been 2 different churches, the Gum Branch precinct, and it is Stateside Elementary. And it was in the primary also.
Okay. All right, Jason. Hey, man, we appreciate the update as always.
All right.
Most
Y'all have a good day.
All right, polls
You
open.
too.
The early voting polls are open in about 6 minutes from now. So if you want to vote early, get your butt on over there. Get her done.
Absolutely.
No lines. No
No
lines.
lines.
No lines. There you go. Thank you, Jason. Let's take a break. You're live in Local Real Talk, and we'll be right back. All right, we're up pretty tight against the clock here again. We got about a minute before Fox News. So tonight, Jacksonville High School takes on Northside, and it's a game that is crosstown rivalry.
Yes.
But we've got a new element added this year.
Yes, we do.
So it's called security and
Yes.
safety. So we'll be talking about that on the other side of the Fox News break. But just suffice it to say that the general public, unless you have a student, a kid that goes to Jacksonville High, you can't get tickets to go to the game. Don't show up in the parking lot and think you're going to get in. Northside High students, they can get in, but they have to get a ticket from Northside.
That's correct.
So they got to go to the school early. I think up through 3:00 today, is it?
3 o'clock. That's correct. Same thing at Jacksonville High School. North Side is they're only selling 1 ticket per person. Jacksonville, I believe the gentleman said 4, and I think he said, didn't he say a parent had to come in and buy
Yeah,
it? Yes.
they've got to do that. And Northside fans, the students, and whoever's going, they have a special gate they'll
Right.
be directed to. You have to have a ticket bought at Northside, and you will go in a special gate. You will have to stay on the visitor side of the
That's
field.
correct.
They have facilities there for you. So you're not going to be allowed to cross over
Cross the field,
and
right.
do anything like that.
That's
So
right.
there's some concern, and we'll talk about that when we come back and what the Jacksonville police are doing. You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME, and we'll be right back. And it is live and local. We're halfway through the day and approaching the end of the work week for a lot of folks.
TGIF.
Yeah. Um, talking about the high school, it's a homecoming game for Jacksonville High, and some things have been done and said and posted that's going to kind of spoil it for a lot of folks.
That's correct.
And I hate that for the graduating seniors,
For the
I really do.
alumni.
for the alumni, like the two of us.
Yes.
We're not allowed there as normal citizens. I can go as representing the station because WSME is going to be broadcasting
That's
this game
correct.
live, as they do all of the Cardinals games, and we do appreciate all the advertisers supporting that effort. And this is going to be very important this year. But this game probably
Yes.
more important than any other game, not because of the game itself, but because of a lack of ability for folks to go. For you folks who normally go to the game, make a note. WSME is a 97.1 FM. You can listen to the game tonight. If you don't have a radio, you're not in your car, you can listen to the game. If you got a computer, go to www.wsme971.com.
Yes.
WSME971.com. You can also go, if you've got a telephone, to do one of those silly little app things called Simple Radio. Go to go to your apps and download Simple Radio, and then just punch in WSME. It will take you to the station, and you can listen at any time of the day or night to WSME. You don't have to have a radio if you don't want one. That's fine. You can do it that way, just like you can do it on your computer from anywhere in the entire world as long as you have internet.
That's correct. You can.
'Cause
You can
I've-
listen to it
Yeah,
anywhere.
I do that when I'm out of the country even. I
Yes,
can
you
listen.
do.
So, okay, now the police department is going to have. Don't get excited if you are one of those who are allowed to go to the game tonight. There will be a heavy police presence, not because of any specific threats, but just as a precautionary measure. That's what the police chief, public safety chief Michael Unera said yesterday, and I talked to him the day before yesterday. Uh, it's a big game, and they're taking extra steps to ensure that everyone has a very safe and enjoyable homecoming ball game. If you can be there, that's cool. If you're allowed to be there, you're going to find a large number of police officers there.
And I appreciate that.
I appreciate it too. Safety is paramount. It's what has to be done.
Absolutely.
Yes, the police, their intel division, they have looked at all sorts of social media postings. We know there's some out there. We found them.
TikTok, Instagram.
all that crap. There are some stupid people out there, more stupid than ever. But you know what? Police have to react. I'm glad they're doing it preemptively
Yes.
instead of having to do it afterwards, and we read about it, the bad stuff happening.
They're being very proactive on this.
And I hope all of the fans, those who do go, you see something, you know something, say something, say it in advance. Call the police in advance.
That's
If you
right.
know something that someone is planning, if you're a student and you've heard that some of your idiot co-students have a plan, notify the police. You don't want to be one of those people, oh, I knew about that, I should have called. No, if you know about it, call.
Well, I would hold you partly responsible if that was the case and you didn't say something.
I mean, we found out something, what's today, Friday? Wednesday,
Right.
right? We found out
Right.
something Wednesday. We relayed it. We sent it all
We
on.
did. We
That's
sent
what we
it
do.
up. We
We're
sent
not
it to-
just, we're responsible citizens. I
That's
hope you
right.
do the same thing.
Well, this started out on social media, and more than likely, it's probably just a bunch of smack talk.
Probably.
But you have to be proactive. You have
If
to
you
take
don't.
those into consideration, and
Yeah.
But thanks students, thanks people, whoever did the social media stuff,
Yeah.
because
Thank you very much.
some
Let
of
me-
us don't get to go now.
Let me just slap you, slap the snot out of your head.
And I did wear my cardinal red today.
Yeah, if you did. I forgot mine. I'm
I
going to wear it
know.
tonight, though.
Yeah, you'll wear it
E-
tonight.
Even if I just have to sit around the radio.
That's right.
Why not?
I have to put on my red pajamas since I'll be home listening to it on the radio. But
The,
you know what? I do appreciate everyone being proactive. I think the
Absolutely.
schools have done a phenomenal job in planning out all the logistics
Mhm.
tonight, and separating the schools from the gates. And
It could have been really easy just to say, you
Yes.
know what, we're going to cancel this game.
yeah, we'll just
Now,
order.
that is not
Right.
what anybody wants. We're not going to bow down to the stupid people in this country. If we do that, then we have
We're weak.
lost. We have
Right,
lost.
we
We're not going
have.
to lose this situation. We ain't going to lose.
I know I fuss about not being able to go, but where I really feel bad for is a lot of these students like are in homecoming, they're homecoming queen,
Yeah.
their friends can't come,
Yeah.
that might be at another school. It's really sad that
Mhm.
this is taken away from them.
Yeah. So, but that's the way it is.
That's the way the world is these days. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just here in Jacksonville, it's everywhere. Thank goodness we've been pretty quiet in Jacksonville.
We have, but we have, and the police will admit they did. They have
Right.
admitted that the murder, or they right now is still listed as a homicide,
Right.
of a student at Northside High School at the beginning of the year, a couple of months ago. That's one of the reasons they have concerns.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning. Who's this?
Hey guys, it's Steve. How y'all doing today?
Hey,
Good morning,
Steve.
Steve.
Appreciate hearing from you.
Hey, just sitting here listening to the show, and yeah, that's kind of a sad situation, but, glad that they're stepping up and taking it seriously, and
Yes.
different ways of looking at this, I guess.
Mhm.
I wanted to touch on something from yesterday right quick, Rayford, on the ectopic pregnancies, where I said it was 1 in 100, and you told me to go check my numbers at the CDC.
Okay.
I went to the CDC and I searched all through their website, and the most recent data I could find was from 1989, and it had a disclaimer saying that it was a survey taken from a few major cities and then
Right.
multiplied by the population, so it wasn't an accurate number. So I went around looking for some other sources, and I've always heard you find 3 sources. So I found the National Institute of Health, Gov, the March of Dimes, and Planned Parenthood. All 3 of them, they compiled the data individually, and they all come up with similar numbers of around 1.7 to 1.9 per 100 people. The National Institute of Health says it's around 1% of pregnancies are ectopic.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, 1% is 1 in 100.
It is.
But the other 2 websites say that it's because it's 1.7 to 1.9, they say it's 2 in 100, so they actually claim 1 in 50. I don't know if that's accurate. If I run across an OBGYN, I'm going to ask them, what their thoughts are on it, but that was the data that I found.
Well, next time I visit one, I'll ask.
And so from that point of view, that's a pretty common, situation. And that's a trivial part of it, but the reason why I brought it up to them is because doctors in Texas right now, they're not sure if they can be sued if they take that before it ruptures.
Which is a ridiculous thing that they have to be fearful of. You know it?
It is. And it's because the way they set up the law is because anybody can sue them in civil court. And it's fairly a lot easier to get somebody in civil court than criminal court.
Of course it is.
And if a doctor performs it, even the Uber driver that brought the lady to the clinic, they can sue the doctor if the doctor takes it before it ruptures, because technically the life is not in danger till it ruptures. But imagine for a minute that we told doctors they could only take appendix out once they ruptured.
Imagine if you tell a police officer you can't shoot that guy till he shoots at you, and he's standing there holding a gun.
Oh, no.
I'm serious. There are people who feel like that, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, well,
don't give them the opportunity.
I'm on the fence about that particular subject. That's a different set of criteria that But what I'm talking about is as far as the ectopic pregnancies, it's a fairly common occurrence.
More common than I thought, apparently.
Right, and more common than I thought until I looked it up. I actually knew a woman who had one, and so that kind of drew me to it because I kind of knew somebody personally who had one. But anyway, like I say, they enact these laws and they're not really thinking them through, and people's health hangs in the balance. So it's something that obviously people are going to be very passionate about if you hadn't followed through.
Sometimes legislators, they start out with something with all the good intentions in the world, but they don't cross all the T's and dot all of the I's as they go along preparing legislation. That's why you find amendments and you find things that have to be changed off of.
Right. And there's also the logistics side of this. Is a law like that is primarily going to affect poor people more than it does wealthy people. Wealthy people can get on a plane, go to another state, and have the procedure done.
Right.
And so it doesn't make it inaccessible; it makes it more expensive. So it's primarily going to affect poor people, and which means there's going to be a population increase in those areas.
Yeah.
So these same people, they're putting forth legislation to increase funding to these schools in these areas, or to the hospitals, or to meet the needs of the population that they're going to increase by doing this. Okay. Anyway, like I say, there's a lot of aspects to that, and a lot of people try to make it black and white, and there's a lot of gray areas that need to be addressed if you're going to talk about something like that.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Thank you, sir.
Have a great weekend, Steve.
Good weekend.
You too, guys. I might call back if I feel froggy again. I hope you don't mind.
Don't go to the Jacksonville High School game tonight unless you got a kid there.
Are you playing anywhere in town this weekend?
I am. Let's see. I'm at up in Newport tonight, and then tomorrow night I'm at the Willy Nilly, which is right down the waterway there from the borough.
Okay.
It's right before you get to the saltwater grill there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'll be there on Saturday from 6 to 9. So if anybody wants to come out and hear me holler.
All right.
Hear you holler. Let me roar. Hear me roar. Who said that? Who sang that song?
Helen Reddy.
There you go. There you go. I am woman.
All right, guys. Well, if I don't talk to you, y'all
Thank
have
you.
a blessed weekend.
You
All right,
too.
you too.
Uh,
I've just been sitting over here just doing math. And
well, you know, he makes a point, but where he said that he disagreed with me, having worked the streets.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
you do have your street knowledge.
This wasn't going to be a topic of conversation, but you know, if somebody is standing there and he pulls a gun on me, or he charges me with a knife or whatever,
It's time to take action.
I'm not going to wait until that bullet either bounces off my vest if I've got one on,
Right.
or hits me.
Hit you in the head,
Yeah,
put
it's
you
like,
down.
I'm not going to wait until that gun is fired to return fire.
That's right.
You know,
Oh,
that was me.
phew.
I kicked one of those computers under the desk.
I thought
we
something
got
was
3.
about to come out from underneath the desk.
It might be a computer.
Oh,
We got 3 dead ones down there.
Okay.
Anybody want a dead computer? We got as soon as we get the hard
Scared
drives
me.
out, you can have them. There's a time to wait. Yeah, if you can hide, that's one thing. You know,
Right.
as long as you secured, you got cover. But if you're standing out there, you I'm not going to wait for the bullet to start burning.
I wouldn't
Just
either.
not going to do it. Good morning. Who's this?
It's the donkey man this morning.
Good
I
morning,
had you in my
Tim.
thoughts this morning. I said I have not heard from him all week long.
I've been listening.
I can't go a week without hearing from you, Tim.
Well, Steve's kind of took over the airways. We need to give him his own show. I mean, I love it when he comes on. Sometimes he calls twice. I try not to call 2 times in one day, but now Steve's got to understand. I mean, I'm not knocking him.
Yeah, I know.
I
that.
disagree with some of the things he does, but he's like Theo. He's great entertainment. People don't understand that. He makes you think. Theo makes you think. Doug makes you think. Steve makes you think. That's the 3 guys right there that get on this radio show and make you think. And that's some of the best information and entertainment you ever find.
Now, let me do a disclaimer
in
here.
my opinion.
I have people who ask me on a regular basis. I am asked, how much do you pay Theo? Now they're going to be asking me, how much do I pay Steve?
How
or
much do we
Doug?
pay Tim?
Yeah, they probably ask that about Doug too.
Yeah, they do.
I know. But it's nice to get opposition, and Steve does a lot of research. I can tell he does a lot of research now, and you hit the nail on the head. You got a lot of street information because you've been in law enforcement, you've been in the news business, and you're still in basically the news and entertainment business. So you get yours. You're like me. I get mine. I used to get mine off CB radio. I used to get mine by the truckers, and it's like the internet. You got to wade through it.
You do,
BS sometimes.
for sure.
And I still get it. But yeah, I just when it came down to that 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 50, I understand that one of my ex-wives, she got a tubular pregnant. Fortunately, she miscarried it. She never had to have an operation on it. But so in mine, I see what he's talking about, and I understand it. People will make laws sometimes, and they didn't research it enough about, well, there's got to be, like you said, amendments to the law.
Yep.
There's got to be, and you got to have. That's why we have amendments to the Bill of Rights. We have amendments to this and that and the other, and that's the way it is. And he's right. Sometimes they pass a law, don't think it through. And then other times they think too much before they pass a law. And case in point, the CBD pill.
Yeah.
I think it should have been passed a long time ago. If you got 37 states, somebody has done a whole lot of research. And if I was in office, I would call that state. I would talk to somebody. How much research did you do? How much of this did you do? How much of that did you do? And then I would make my mind up then. And I I'm scared to use any CBD product, any, and for
because
the
of your
simple reason,
driving.
right? Nobody has confirmed it, or nobody has unconfirmed it. If I use any CBD oil and I go take a urine test, is it going to show up? And if it shows up, you're automatically terminated.
Uh-huh.
Because it doesn't grade it. It just, oh, yeah, you pop positive. So I do not use it. I use, if I got aches and pains, I take a BC, or if I, what have you. And that's what I use. That's all I'm going to use until I retire. And then maybe I might try some of that CBD. I use the Beagle Oil. I use DMSO if I got aches and pains. But it's just, some people don't think it through. And I understand what Steve's saying. I totally understand. But, yeah, he is great entertainment. I put him on board. He's the Trinamic Trio. He's the third one in the Trinamic Trio. He's one of them, and I love it when he calls. Steve, don't think I don't like it. I do, because I've been in an entertainment business and kind of still am sometimes. But you are great entertainment. You're an asset to this radio show.
Absolutely.
You really are when you call with your information. Even though you and him and you might get a little heated once in a while, that makes it better.
Well, that's
yeah,
all right.
I thought I don't make nobody mad. The only people I try to make mad on purpose is tax office or county commissioner. I'll do that in a heartbeat. And but yeah, I'm glad Tim Foster, he was on there this morning. Enjoyed what Tim said. He gave me some information I didn't know. Had no clue about the tax situation as far as the sales tax.
We were both stymied on that one.
Yes, we're like, wow, learned
I
something
was
new.
shocked. And which now I like Tim. I voted for Tim. I already early voted. I voted for him. And I will say this, my wife voted for him for a simple reason. We had that meeting that night at county commissioners, and my wife was so upset over all what was said. Tim Foster came up to her and said, look, this is not over yet. Please don't think this is, and please don't undermine. This is not you. And he talked to her. He didn't know her, but he knew who she was, and he talked to her. And my wife came out of there impressed with Tim Foster. And I said, well, honey, that's great. You vote who you want. But now she, Lord have mercy. But yeah, they're in their building. It's a little cramped up because they don't have the space that they were supposed to have, but they've got all that the county can provide. And it's a temporary thing, and Diana's grateful for it. The rest of the staff is grateful for it. They think it's a wonderful place. They loved it. They loved it when they first brought it to them. They loved it. And it wasn't them. It was above them that caused problems. And I just want to say they're good. They're getting on. My wife called me yesterday. She said, I got to run over there to the old building. I said, what's wrong? She said, well, we hadn't got our printer in here yet. The IT guys got to do something. So if we need something printed off, we have to leave the new building, go to the old building, and get what's printed off. I said, well, Lord, I know this, and the phones are not working yet, but that's not the county problem. That is the IT problem for, USDA. They got to get everything lined up. It's not, you know how the government works. It ain't, we're going to get it done tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll get it done by next week.
Well, don't forget, we only work 8 to 5, and we got an hour for lunch, and then we got a 15-minute coffee break, and a 15-minute cigarette break, and then one in the afternoon. If I've got an ingrown toenail, I can't come to work, y'all. It's just
I told her. Well, my wife is real claustrophobic, so the elevators scare her. And I told her one morning, I said, do you need me to call? Oh, well, it's hard for her to get up the stairs with a breathing problem. She can go down them going up stuff. Now, I told her last night, I said, well, why don't you call Chris? She said, what for? Well, get a deputy to escort you up the elevator if you're scared. Well, that makes 2 of us. That's more weight. I said, I can't win.
Get a skinny deputy.
I cannot win.
Maybe she needs an
I got one
escalator.
there already. Hey, he's a great guy. I scared the tar out of him first time I walked in there to see her. He says, where are you going? I said, to see my wife. And he looks at me like, whoa, where does she work? I said, upstairs, third floor. And I was doing it for meanness.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
sure
I
you
shouldn't
were.
have done it. I was, and I finally looked at him. I said, USDA. Oh, yeah, third floor to the right when you come out the elevator.
Duh. You
And
got
I
it.
got to
Cheer
laughing
level.
at him. You got to have a good. If you get a deputy sheriff to smile, you have made their day because they got a bad job to start with.
There
You
you go.
understand that? And
I understand.
I respect all of them, and
As
but
do
I had to
I.
pick on him a minute. But look, y'all, I just wanted to call in. I appreciate Jason calling, and I met him. When I went and voted, didn't have much time. He was out there working the parking lot, I guess. I don't know what he was doing, but I didn't have much time to talk to him. But I really want to say, since Jason has gotten that job, I really love the information that
Amen.
him, the Board of Elections, and all the crew, they work, they keep everything straight. And that's the main reason I called, was to tell Jason, I don't know if he's listening, but man, you do a fantastic job, you and your crew. And, I just wanted to say that. And I give praise where praise is due.
There you go.
But that was what I wanted to holler at. But y'all be good. Have a great
All right.
weekend.
You
As
too.
good as we
And
can be.
we're here for me Monday.
You got it.
All right.
Take care, sir.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
That's our little buddy Tim.
And,
The donkey
always
man. The
enjoy
donkey
hearing from
man
him.
is in town.
He
You're
makes
live
me
and
laugh.
yeah, it makes me laugh too. Also, he brought some wonderful pears.
Yes, he did.
You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME. Right after weather, it'll be your turn. You want to chat? Our number is 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. We'll be right back. You know, a lot of folks out there, they haven't been able to find a new boat. So they've been holding on to their old boats. And a lot of people say, well, a new boat's, that's pretty expensive. They are not, but they're a great investment. If you're going to use one, get one. They come with a guarantee. But if you want a good deal on a used boat right now, you need to check in with Tideline. Call George down there, run down there, find out what he's got. You can generally find them on the Facebook page or on the website, tidelinemarine.com. Find out what's available. Go down there and take a look at it. It doesn't cost you anything. Go back, just walk down there and take a look. They'll escort you out, tell you what they can do and what boats are under consignment.
Yes.
Tideline's got several boats right now under consignment. You might
Pretty
find
boats.
something you want and
Pretty
something you can
boats.
afford and something you can't live without. Okay, that's what it is. Tideline team is still offering new Lund boats, perfect for the waters around these parts. Good catches of speckled trout going on right now. I can attest to that, along with some pretty nice redfish. Hello, a boat that can perform in shallow waters is exactly what you need to maneuver the shallow creeks along the White Oak and New Rivers. And the Lund boats are perfect for that. Tideline Marine and Family, your Lund and Mercury outboard dealer, 159 Old Bridge Street, along the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. That pesky small craft advisory remains in effect through late Sunday night now. It's today offshore northeasterly winds, 20 to 25 knots, gusts to 30, seas 5 to 7, 2 to 4 near shore. Dominant period 5 seconds, and sounds and rivers are going to be rough. Those inlets are going to be rough too.
Very.
Northeasterly winds tomorrow, 20 to 25, gusts to 30, seas 5 to 7. Same thing as today. Sounds and rivers still the same. Going to be rough. Now, Sunday, northeasterly winds 15 to 20, coming down slightly, diminishing even more, 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas 4 to 6. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon. The first of next week is looking a whole heap more better.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Well, today is going to be mostly cloudy with a high near 67, northeast wind 8 to 13 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Tonight, patchy drizzle after 2 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low of 55. Saturday, patchy drizzle before 8 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 69, north wind 8 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 16. Saturday night, mostly cloudy, low of 53. Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 74.
Fishing crews. We used to hear about this thing on a regular basis, especially right after World War II and even into the 60s. Fishing crews trolling roughly 4 miles off the coast of Block Island, Rhode Island, pulled in an explosive catch Tuesday when the nets they were dragging captured a depth charge dating back to World War II.
Whoa.
An unexploded depth charge.
Whoa, I was just going to ask that.
Once the ordnance was discovered, the crew contacted the Coast Guard, who then requested assistance from the Navy. A spokesperson for the Navy said that Navy Explosive Ordnance Disposal Mobile Unit 12 out of Newport responded and took possession of the device, identified as a World War II Mark VI depth charge. On Wednesday morning, the EOD's folks detonated the 520 pound depth charge underwater. About a mile from the coast, the explosive contained 267 pounds of TNT.
That would have been a surprise if you were out there trolling for fish on the bottom and got a hold of that thing. And
those depth charges, they're kind of like 55-gallon drums full of stuff, right?
wow.
And they set them off. They drop them over. And the Navy and the Coast Guard did a lot of that during World War II when they found suspicious activity, German U-boats up and down our coast. They were real close to shore. I mean, they were right on the beaches.
Yes, they were.
Quite often. I've only been on one of them, the U-352. It's about 35 miles off of Cape Lookout, as I recall, and a little over 100 feet of water. But it was depth charge. The Coast Guard cutter Icarus, right after the beginning, after the U.S. involvement in World War II in May, I think it was May of 1942. It was May. The U-352, that crew attacked the Coast Guard cutter Icarus, which had just been retrofitted with the most up-to-date at that time of sub-hunting and killing gear available.
Wow, that's something.
And they attacked and they missed. Shot
Of
2
course,
torpedoes
yes.
at the Icarus. Icarus turned around, and it was headed to its home port in Charleston, turned around, and started dropping depth charges.
And it's not like they go back to pick up out of the ocean what they dropped.
Well, it goes off.
Right.
Most depth charges, when they go down, they go boom, boom, and you're done. It's
But
over.
for
So
those that don't go off,
I don't know how many don't go off, but they don't know where they dropped them. I mean,
so the advice is if you're scuba diving and you see one,
don't touch it.
Say something.
I had a friend. We were diving off of Oslo Beach, right off the marine area out there on some of the rocks back in the 60s, maybe could have been early 70s. And he picked up a big coral wrapped up stuff. And he didn't know what it was. He got it in the boat and he's chipping away at it with his knife. Well, it was a live round.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. And what did you do with it?
I said, drop that thing.
Drop it quick.
So it went right back into the deep blue.
Oh, wow. That would be like frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, educate me now. I think we have one of our small islands right off the coast. Is it Radio Island, Bear Island? Lots of times when the military or
It's Bear Island. It's not Radio. Radio Island's at it's very populated now.
Okay,
And
so
it's
it's
up on
Bear Island.
Morehead City.
And so when the military's fighting a lot, firing rounds.
Yeah, that's a practice range.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff they found there that's live.
That's right.
over the
I
years.
remember the
So
stories
if,
over there.
if you're not supposed to get out of your boat and go over there, by the way, there were some times. Is it Browns Island? I think it is. Back in the 70s or whatever. They hit the wrong island in their practice runs. They hit Bear Island,
Oh.
where civilians are.
Oh, yes. Because I know a lot go over
Nobody
and
was
camp.
there,
Right.
but at the time, and luckily, but there were some live rounds that missed Browns Island and hit Bear Island. Now, there is a possibility of live ordnance, and they don't want you anchoring because stuff you drop an anchor on something that didn't go off, you might make it go off
Right.
in the waters
Oh,
around
no,
there.
that wouldn't be good. Well, I know if you're on the New River and you're heading towards the ocean, the military has signs that come out so far
Yeah.
for you not to go past those
Because they
signs.
have, there's some stuff that's been dropped there in the years past. They've recovered a lot.
Interesting.
They've sent teams up there to recover a lot, and they don't know whether they got it all or not. I go to the other side.
Yeah.
I
Me
ain't going to
too.
be anchoring.
I'm not going that side. Yeah, drop an anchor. Kaboom.
Yeah, that'd be a mess.
Would not be good.
Anyway, let's take a break. 910-333-0139. You got a comment? I'm surprised nobody has had comments about the school situation.
Right.
That are not, people are disappointed.
Right.
I'm surprised because I've heard people talking about it, and I know from
Right.
social media
Yes.
that people are like, really?
Well, I'm extremely disappointed, but you know what? I'm going to respect the process.
Oh,
I'm going to respect the
absolutely.
fact
You know,
that they're trying to be proactive and they're trying to
they are,
be very careful. So,
which they're
I'll quit
doing. They're doing a
complaining.
good job. I'm not complaining about the schools. I'm not
Right.
complaining
No,
about
not
the
in the
police presence. I'm
least.
not complaining about any of that. I'm complaining about the idiots
Yeah.
who have
Yes.
caused this.
Yeah, thank you,
Not
idiots.
just here, but across the nation.
Across the nation. Absolutely. Every
Mm,
day there's news stories out, just every day. Every day.
Yeah, and over the past couple of weekends, on Mondays, we've talked about shootings.
Yes.
We've talked about problems at ball games
Yes.
outside the stadium.
In
What
the
was it?
parking
Was it
lot.
in
Yes.
Fayetteville?
I believe it was
There
a
was one
school up
nearby,
there near there, right?
not too far away, that one person got shot outside in the stadium walking to the car.
See, that's the part that worries me.
So, anyway, ball game's going to be tonight. It's going to be a great game.
Oh, sure.
Jacksonville High is going to win. I can say that because we're both.
Well, Northside's
alumni.
record's like 1-7, so
Well, yeah. and
we're gonna win
and we've only
regardless.
got one conference win.
right.
So who knows? Ball game's always up in the air. And we'll talk about it a little bit more when we come back. But we'd love to hear from you if you've got anything. If you, how, do you know something, or are you? Does this concern you? Would this cause you to stay away, even if they did not kind of close the game down a little bit, make it tougher to get in?
Right. Well, they have to do what they have to do. And I
Are
appreciate
people
that.
are
Yes.
people just not going to games anyway because of some of the threats and things that have been happening?
Right.
Or you just disinterested? My God, the stadiums used to be full with
Oh,
parents,
I
with
remember it
everybody,
used to
wall to
be.
wall.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
if you didn't get there early, you didn't get a seat. You had to
Well, I
stand.
went three games ago when they were
Mhm.
last home, and it was a pretty good crowd
Good.
there. It was
I,
not
I like
bad
to
at
I
all.
like to see that. I've been to several of them, and there just weren't that many
I know my granddaughter
Jacksonville
stood in
fans.
line over 30 minutes to get
Oh,
a drink, so
oh wow.
it was
Well,
pretty good.
there you go. You're live and local Real Talk. We'll be right back. 910-333-0139. Want to react or have something else you want to talk about? Now's your time. 910-333-0139. And we're back and on the line. Howard, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you, Rayford?
Oh, we're hanging
And
in
Lee?
here.
Good morning, Howard.
Okay. Good morning. I just wanted to tell you, don't feel too bad about the game tonight. I actually was going to go because I like a good rivalry.
I do too.
And, and, you know, in the old days, you just go to the gate, buy a ticket, you're in, you know.
Yep.
You didn't have the stuff that's going on nowadays.
No.
But I got to share a story with you. I was used to be a high school basketball coach back home.
Really?
And it was an inner city, I'd call it an inner city high school, and we played non-conference just like everybody does. And we had a game against a seminary, a Catholic seminary, guys that are going into the priesthood. Now, Rayford, if you were coaching and you saw, okay, we got a non-conference game against a seminary, we're 4-0 and ranked 5th in the state, would you be too worried about the seminary?
Normally, no.
Right. Well, we walked into the gym, and the entire wall was lined with conference champions, state champions. I said, holy cow. So early in the first quarter, we get a rebound coming up the court. And what happens? One of their players cold cocks the guy with the ball.
Oh, my.
Right in the face. And both benches empty, the stands empty. People are throwing punches left and right. And as a result of that, they turned around and prohibited any fans to attend the high school basketball games throughout the state.
Wow.
And it was a period of 2 or 3 years. And that was horrible. You know how many people, it's always like, oh, your girlfriend could come, or, your parents will come, grandparents. Nobody could come. They played in an empty gym with the refs and the players and the coaches.
That's totally ridiculous.
So let's hope that never happens down here with the high school sports, because I have fond memories of my high school days, and those memories would be dashed if your best girl couldn't wear your visiting jersey or anything like that. I don't know if they do that anymore, but the thing is, senior day, when parents come and you give them a rose or a bouquet or something,
right?
That would be all over with if it was like that. So I can tell you, most of this stuff is gang related, and it's outside people mostly that are causing this problem.
Why don't we outlaw gangs? You want to just take their rights away? What do you think?
Well, how are we going to do that? Because they're all like coverts.
No, they've got gang colors on. They're recognizable. They do it intentionally.
Oh, you know about that stuff. But I was going to ask you one other thing. You were talking about shooting first and stuff. Was I dreaming, or I think it was during the Persian Gulf problems? Did they have under rules of engagement that we couldn't fire unless we were fired upon?
I'm not sure exactly when that is or when it was, but there are a lot of military folks, believe it or not. We've got some veterans right here. One that I used to work with. He did not think you should be, first of all, didn't think you should carry a live round in your pistol in the chamber. You should be able to draw your sidearm and rack a round in if you were engaged.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh my God.
But hail no.
No.
That's just not the way things work.
I'd be dropping it on the ground.
First of all, if you got somebody who is who's holding you or is fighting you, and you're fighting them off with one hand, how do you do something?
You can't.
How do you load your weapon?
Yeah.
Duh.
Well, I'm here to tell you, in Vietnam, I had a 45 with one in the chamber underneath my pillow at night when I slept.
Absolutely.
And I cannot sleep, Rayford, unless my hand is underneath the pillow. I don't have a gun anymore there, but I can't sleep unless my hand is underneath that pillow.
Oh boy.
So that's how bad I got it. Yeah. But no, we didn't worry about rules of engagement over there. I'm here to tell you.
Shoot first.
Yeah. When in doubt, shoot and worry about the details later. That's what they told us.
Yeah.
So,
All right,
well,
Howard.
anyway, I'm going to listen to the game tonight. This
Very
will be
good.
the first one I've listened to, so I'm glad you gave me the information on
There
how
you
I
go.
can get it.
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
be
Because I
listening
am a
with you.
Cardinal fan.
That's
Yay.
It's just they play that rough schedule, though. I got to tell you.
Well, they're going to have next year. They're going to have some more experienced individuals. They had a lot
Yes.
of seniors last year. This year,
That's
Yeah.
right.
last year we lost the
Let's
seniors.
hope.
Right.
I love the
Quarterback.
coach. I absolutely love the coach. I hope that they don't do anything stupid like they did in Wisconsin. How'd you feel about a coach that would win 75% of his games in the Big Ten, no doubt, and get fired? He got fired,
Oh my!
and he was 3-3 when he was fired. Can you believe it?
Oh boy, that's the way it goes.
That's stupid.
That's the way it
All
goes.
right.
Sir. All right, thank you, sir.
You have a good one.
You
too.
too.
All right.
Let's take a break here. Live and local, real talk. We'll be right back. And we're back here for the closing couple of minutes of the show this morning, and we appreciate all of you guys, everybody who's called in. We like we like it. It's nice having you on board with us. North Carolina voters wishing to cast their ballot by mail, those absentee ballots, by
Yes.
mail, U.S.
Right.
Postal Service, the thing
U.S.
you put
Postal
a
Service.
stamp on.
Yes, don't forget the stamp.
Yeah. If you're going to vote in this election coming up, the November election, the midterm elections, you have until Tuesday, next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, to request a ballot. If
That's
you
right.
haven't requested one, you need to get, and your intent is to fill it out and mail it in.
That's
You
right.
got until Tuesday to request one. Okay. As of day before yesterday, 234,000 plus North Carolinians had requested a ballot by mail. That's double the number of voters who requested ballots this time at this point during the last midterm election back in 2018. Statewide, 73,514 voters by mail had returned their absentee ballots through Wednesday. 73,000 voters had mailed in their returns
Right.
by this day before yesterday. That's more than double
Well,
at the same time in 2018.
Well, they're finding it more convenient.
Well, yeah, and maybe they kind of got into the routine of doing something like that.
I think I might try that next go round just to see it, because you can go on ballot tracker through the state Board of Elections website, and you can actually track the ballot.
A lot of voters got really accustomed to voting by mail
Yes.
in 2020.
Right.
That's probably a good. I'm going to guess that's as much of a cause for this happening as anything else.
I think so.
They got used to voting by mail because of the
Yep.
pandemic, and a lot of people still don't
Exactly.
like crowds.
Well, that's just like people now order their groceries online and
They
have them
still do it.
delivered.
They still do it.
So it's becoming a more popular thing.
And even outside a lot of the big box stores, Sam's for one,
Right.
and any number of others, reserve for curbside pickup.
Yes.
And the people, they call when they get there, and the people bring their stuff out. In Sam's, for instance, a place I shop regularly, they've got these cages in there where staff and fills up the orders and put
right.
them right in there.
Yes.
And then when you get there, you call and they bring it out to your car.
That's right.
Okay, coming up
Easy
next,
peasy.
right after Fox News break, it's going to be Sports Talk. And Corey Fawman, I think that's how you pronounce it, Fawman or Fawman, I can't remember. I don't know. He was the class of 2010 for Jacksonville High School. He
Right.
also played soccer at Jacksonville High, at Catawba College, and some professionally. He's going to be the guest
cool.
today
Wonderful.
with Chris Rayner on Sports Talk coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Yes. Please listen.
Don't forget the game tonight. It's going to be broadcast live. So between Jacksonville High and Northside, it'll be live beginning at 6:30 with pregame show.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
then continuing the kickoff is at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And I hope all will go extremely well. Meanwhile, you are live. You are local. We'll be back on Monday right here on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME.